Chase at the 40. Look at that move. Look at Chase go. Oh, my goodness. What a gear.
He comes down to this in his car end zone. Intercepted.
McPherson. And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
Toss here. Mix is going to throw. Open man. Caught. Higgins. Touchdown.
Drives. Touchdown. Joe Burrow has his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Maan. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. Maan, episode 17 is here. Our first episode, Maan, after a Cincinnati Bengals football game. We're going to get all into that. How was your week, Maan?
It was great. Got back from our vacation, back to work. Excited about the game. Obviously, I wish they would have won. A lot of interesting takes on it, but excited about this episode. I'm looking forward to talking about that game and the next game.
All right, well, let's get right into it, Maan. There is a lot of news going on, but first, before we get into the news, let's talk about this preseason game number 1 against the Cardinals. The first game in Paycor Stadium. Bengals lose to the Cardinals 36-23. We are going to get into and dive into our takes on that game. Before we do, though, Maan, I want to go over some of the stats on offense and defense real quick, and then you and I will we'll talk a little bit about what we wanted to see from last week and what we actually saw in the football game, and break it down from there. But let's look at some of the stats. Leading passer for the night. A lot of people probably think it's Brandon Allen, but obviously Brandon Allen goes down early in that game with a concussion. So Jake Browning actually had not a bad game on 13 of 24 for 190 yards. And after that, a young man named Drew Plitt came in. He is a Ohio guy. He came in. He went 6 for 6 for 76 yards and a touchdown. Jacques Patrick, who seems to be our preseason MVP the last couple years. I don't know why it seems like that, but he was the leading rusher. 9 carries for 30 yards and a touchdown. Kendrick Pryor, I'm sure you and I are both going to talk about that young man from Wisconsin. 4 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Trent Taylor, Maan, number 11. Your favorite Bengal, number 11. Not Trent Irwin, Maan. Trent Taylor.
Irwin had a catch.
He did. Trent Taylor, number 11, but number 1 in our hearts. 4 receptions for 74 yards. Chris Evans had 1 kickoff return for 41 yards. I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little bit. And 2 big runs called back, Maan. One a touchdown, the other one like a 60-yard run. We'll get into that, though, I'm sure. The man of the night, Evan McPherson, Money Mac, the only starter. Well, him and obviously Huber played a little bit. But besides our special teams guys, no other starters played in that football game. But Evan McPherson, 3 for 3, just finished right where he left off, Maan. A 58-yarder that was probably good from about 68 yards, maybe 70. Had a 56-yarder as well, but he was 3 for 3. Defensively, Maan, Clay Johnson, our guy Clay Johnson, he obviously made a big play for us in that Kansas City game. No, it was the Tennessee game. Big play in the Tennessee game. Big play in the Tennessee game on the goal line. Stopped Derrick Henry. Clay Johnson was our leading tackler with 6 tackles. Zach Carter, who I'm sure you are going to be talking about a lot tonight, he had 4 tackles. Dax Hill played well, real well. Had an incredible play in the end zone. Almost came down with an amazing interception. And Jeff Gunner, the guy we our 7th-round pick, a guy that we've talked about on our show, had a sack, 2 quarterback hits, and it seemed like he was in the backfield quite a bit, but I'm sure we'll get to Mr. Gunter as well. So that's some of the game stats from the Arizona game. So, Mon, let's real quick, I want to hear some of your takes first, and then I'll give you some of mine, and then we'll break down the game itself.
Yeah, obviously, I did talk about it last week. I want them to win every game that they play. I didn't really lose any sleep over it. It is a preseason game, but it was sloppy. There was a lot of penalties involved. Poor Chris Evans, he lost out on about 69, 70 yards, rushing yards because of penalties. 60-plus yard that was called back because of a Thaddeus Moss hold. He had a touchdown run of 5 yards called back because Thaddeus Moss had another hold on that. 11 total penalties for the team, over 100 yards in penalties. Like I said, those hidden yards, though, the 60-plus yard run by Evans wiped out. The 5-yard TD run, there's other completions that were wiped out due to other penalties. I think Carmen had a hold also. Sloppy. You do expect that in preseason games, but the Cardinals only had 2 penalties. They definitely have to clean that up. Coach Taylor mentioned that. Something I'm not trying to read too much into this, but I felt like the Cardinals were just the more aggressive team, the more physical team. And, you keep on reading the articles from The Athletic and some of the beat writers, and I don't disagree with Coach Taylor. He keeps on talking about the load management. He doesn't want his guys to have these soft tissue injuries. He's trying to keep them healthy for the regular season. I respect that. But, there's a fine line there. You have to you still have to get ready to go out and hit people and get physical. And I felt that, I felt like the Cardinals were the more physical team the other night. And I'm really going to be watching to see how they play against the Giants on Sunday. I expect them to be a lot more physical and a little better prepared.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think from the get-go, the Cardinals were just going up and down the field on us. And again, I'm with you. I mean, obviously, it's hard to know what to take out of this football game because, as I said, no Bengal starter is playing in this football game. However, Mon, some of the Bengal starters from last year, some of the Bengal starters from the Super Bowl last year played in that football game and looked awful.
They did.
And, we'll talk about that as we get going. And I'm like you, that's the one thing about preseason games, even at every level, even at the high school level, the one thing you want to take out of those games is let's have a clean game. Let's not have a lot of penalties. Let's not look sloppy. Let's not look like we don't know what we're doing. Let's go out. Let's just have a clean football game. No turnovers, and we did not get that from our Bengals on Friday night. Honestly, it was a little disheartening. I know those guys are a lot of those guys are our number 2. Some of them are not going to make this football team, but man, I just expected more, I guess, especially with us running out the offensive line that had 2 guys that started in the Super Bowl. You're thinking these guys are going to go out and dominate second stringers, and that did not happen, obviously, in that football game. And I'm with you. I felt like Arizona, they just looked different than we did. They came out, they were prepared, and they wanted to win that football game. They really did.
They did. And there was also some missed opportunities. Jalen Davis had a interception. He broke on a ball. He could have easily picked that ball off. The next play, we had the pass interference that led to, I think it was a 40-yard pass interference that led to the Cardinals' first touchdown. You mentioned the Dax Hill play. Beautiful play. He had the ball in his hands, but it jarred loose when he hit the ground. That could have been another interception. Yeah. He also, later on, I think in the second quarter, he broke on a ball and separated it from the receiver. He was very impressive, very impressive. Yeah. But there were some missed opportunities there. They could have capitalized on that. But, you know what? I can't wait for the game against the Giants. I really expect them to to put on a better performance. And Coach Taylor said pretty much the same crew is going to play this game. He doesn't expect any starters, and I fully expect better results this Sunday.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I've talked about it on here before. We don't listen. Those guys, they don't need to be taking a lot of snaps. We know what we know what we're going to get with those guys. Again, Joe Burrow, the entire receiving core, Joe Mixon, a lot of our offensive line guys. Those guys don't need to play. They really don't. They're veteran guys. Most of them have been in the league. Most of them have played in Super Bowls. But man, oh man, you got to have depth at any level of football, and that's what we're trying to do right now is to see where our depth is. And it was a little disheartening. Again, I'm not going crazy before you think I am. I'm not going crazy about a preseason game, but I guess I expected more, especially since a lot of the guys that played on the offensive side of the ball were guys that got a lot of snaps last year for us. And man, it just it was rough, especially the offensive line. I mean, good Lord, it just felt like you were watching a rewind of last season. I mean, Arizona was in the backfield almost every play, and obviously, that concussion to Brent Allen, that was I mean, again, no blocking at all. But I want to go back real quick and let's talk about what you and I, when we previewed this game, what we wanted to see. So on offense, we each picked 3 things on offense and 3 things on defense that we wanted to see. What I wanted to see on offense, my number 1 was Chris Evans. Let's see if he can earn that second string running back job. Maan, if Chris Evans is not a second string running back when we kick off on September 11th, I don't know what to say, because that guy, he is electric. He is electric, Maan. He is one of those guys that we have got to get involved in the game plan. You and I have talked about it on this show many of times. But what did you think of Chris Evans? I mean, good gracious, he was all over the place.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. That 60-yard run, 60-plus yards, that one cut and go, it was Terrell Davis-like. It was unbelievable. And you know what? The Thaddeus Moss hold, it was a hold, but the guy wasn't going to make a play.
No.
He wasn't going to make a play. He wasn't going to catch him. And, listen, we said it. We've said it on numerous episodes of the Bengals Pulse. He's going to be our X factor this year. I expect him to have 40, 50, maybe 60 catches out of the backfield. We've debated wide receiver 4. Obviously, we're going to talk about some guys that played really well in this last game, but Chris Evans could be wide receiver 4. He's really good. Yeah, he is. He's a special talent, and we are lucky to have him.
He could be kickoff returner number 1 too.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know what they want to do with that. It's going to be interesting to see, but those are all hidden yards. Being able to flip the field like that, if you got a guy back there that can take it on the go, that's hard to find in today's NFL. You don't see a lot of big returns in the NFL anymore. And man, it'd be nice to have somebody back there that could do that on every touch. The other thing that I wanted to see was who's going to be our 4th receiver, Maan. And we might have seen, we might have 2 guys right now in Trent Taylor, your favorite, and our new guy, Kendrick Pryor. What a great football game by him, and what a great job by him coming out and really grabbing an opportunity. I tell you what, the kid, he gets in and out of his routes well. He gets out of the top of his route well. He's long. He can make contested catches. He was very I don't know. I was very impressed with Kendrick Pryor. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, he looked the part. I was expecting one of those rookie free agents to really shine. I thought it was going to be Lassiter. Okay, I know I've read some positive things about Pryor, but Pryor really, that one-handed catch was absolutely unbelievable.
That was great.
You know what I love about that? I watched the game a couple of times. The sideline erupted. Chase and Boyd, they went ballistic when they saw that catch. I love
that's
seeing
awesome.
that kind of stuff. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I think he makes the team, and
Yeah, I do too.
I think he's somebody that could potentially develop, into pretty decent receiver in the NFL. I know it's just one game. I'm not trying to overhype him, but this guy, what Zach Taylor said about him, the most improved player from the off-season workouts to now uh, what was prior. So that was impressive for Coach Taylor to say that. That's high praise.
Listen. I don't ever want to hear you apologizing for overhyping somebody after one game, because the Steeler fans right now think they have the next. They got the next Randy Moss. The guy's out there pushing around third stringers and making plays, and all I heard about on Twitter was Pickens from the Steelers. Listen. You don't ever have to apologize for talking about Kendrick Pryor, because Lord knows the Steeler fans, we're not going to hear the end of it, because he had a great game, preseason game, Mr. Pickens, against a bunch of third stringers. So let's not worry about that. But let's talk about. And I wanted to see some Brandon Allen snaps, Mon. I didn't get to see any Brandon Allen snaps. Obviously, he was 3 for 3 before he went down, but he's looked really good, in camp. And I was kind of bummed with the injury. I wanted to see more snaps from him. Hopefully, he gets back soon. But who knows? It might end up being the Jake Browning show, and we'll see. We'll see what Coach does with Mr. Drew Plitt. Well, let's see what he does with him. Maybe he gets some more snaps on Sunday. But defensively, we talked about the rookies, Mon, and let's dive into that. Let's talk about how these rookies played. Obviously. I'll start. Dax Hill, to me, was very impressive. I mean, everything that you want to see. They had him in some man coverage. They had him again playing that safety and that nickel. Dax Hill looks the part. What do you think?
Yeah, he did. He was very impressive. Like I said, the ups he showed to get that ball.
Yeah.
I wish he could have just secured it when he hit the ground. He's going to have a solid future for the Bengals. It's going to be interesting when Jesse Bates does come back. I think the Bengals would probably put him out of corner to see what he can do there, especially with Britt injured right now. But he looked very impressive. He got to play a lot of snaps. And listen, he was a number one pick, but still he has to play because the pro game is different from college. And I'm glad they gave him a lot of snaps out there. He looked the part. He belongs. You could tell the game isn't too big for him. He looked really great. I want to touch base on one of the offensive guys real quick. Browning really, really impressed me big time. I mean, that play where he scrambled and he threw the ball, and I think he threw it to Pryor on the sideline, that was Burrow-esque in a way. I mean, Joe did that a couple times last year, and that guy, man, he's got a little gunslinger in him. He may not be the biggest quarterback, but he was impressive. I really like seeing that. But no, Dax Hill, Gunter, Carter, our draft picks looked the part the other night.
Absolutely. I think Carter and Gunter were they looked very impressive. They definitely controlled the line of scrimmage, both of those guys. Carter was in the backfield a couple of times. So yes, absolutely. Those two guys looked the part. Our guy, Alan George, he played well. And Tyson Anderson as well. Tyson Anderson had a couple tackles and again, like we talked about, some of those guys that we wanted to see, those rookies, they did play well. And then, I talked a little bit about Akeem Davis-Gaither and how the linebackers were going to play. We didn't see a lot of Akeem Davis-Gaither, had a couple tackles, I think, but I think hopefully we'll see more of that against the Giants this Sunday. But we got to create some depth on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, our first 11, even maybe our first 12 or 13 are really good. But we got to get some depth out there, and we got to figure out who is going to be in that defensive line rotation. And right now, I think if it ended right now and final cut down day was tomorrow, Carter, Gunter, those guys are definitely making the football team.
Yeah, there's a lot of bodies at that position, at that defensive line. 14 plus players, if not maybe more than that, maybe 15. Gunter looks like a keeper. Carter, like I mentioned last week, I was worried about who's going to take over and give quality snaps because Ogunjobi's not here anymore. Carter looked the part. He looked active. He looked strong, quick. I think he's going to play quite a few snaps. He's going to give B.J. Hill a breather. Tapau played a lot the other day. He was actually team captain for the game, him and Morgan. I like that.
Yeah.
Osai only played a couple snaps.
He didn't play very much. I think he played four snaps, right?
Yeah, he did. And I don't know. I guess, Coach Taylor's being conservative with him. Yeah. Hopefully he gets to play a little bit more against the Giants. There's going to be a tough cut there. There's going to be a player that, like Kareem I love, but there's going to be some guys that are going to get cut that are going to get snatched up quickly by other NFL teams.
Well, Kareem's got to get healthy, right?
He does. He's got to play. I expect him to play this week. If he doesn't, it's, look out. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals maybe try to shop him and see if they can get something for him. I mean, I don't know if they can. But there's going to be some tough cuts. Bengals have a lot of emerging players at that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And so let's get to your number one. The number one thing you wanted to see, Maan, you didn't get to see. Unfortunately, None of us did. And that is the offensive line. And we talked about on our show last week when we previewed this game, we're talking about Isaiah Prince, we're talking about Adeniji and all those guys that played in the Super Bowl, and even some of those other younger guys that got some reps, last year in the regular season. Maan, it was a rough night. Jackson Carman, I mean, those three guys. Oh, what do you think, Maan?
I mentioned it last week. Prince started 9+ games, 10 games. Adeniji 8+, counting the playoffs, 10 games. Trey Hill had 2 starts, I believe. Listen, these guys, they're backup players now because of the Bengals' offseason moves. Yeah. They needed to dominate that game because they were playing against backups, and they were. Listen, I try to be, I don't want to be vicious or disrespectful to players, but.
Oh, we got to be honest, though.
Yeah,
we got to be honest.
They were terrible. They were terrible. Isaiah Prince, they had him playing left tackle when he played right tackle last year. I don't know. I guess Coach Pollock is just trying to figure out the best moves. I don't know. It was, like Trey Hill a couple times, he looked like he was on roller skates getting pushed back. Carman.
Same thing.
Yeah, and I was really disappointed. It's a preseason game. I get it. Hey, fans of Bengal Pulse, I'm not trying to be negative, but man, I expect more from those guys. And listen, 4 of our 5 starters, September 11th against the Steelers, I have no problem with. Okay, I think they'll figure out the left guard, Volson, maybe Spain coming back. I don't know. They'll figure that out. If one of those guys gets nicked up, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
How big? How big was that story when Spain, took a picture of Cincinnati and everybody's like, Spain's in town, and we could see Quentin Spain back in a Bengals uniform. I know. Again, I'm like you. I don't want to be negative off of one preseason game, but I also don't want Joe Burrow getting sacked 70 times next year. And I feel the same way you do. I mean, the 4 of our starters right now are incredible and the best O-line that Joe Burrow's ever played behind. But and right now, to me, if we're talking about one of those other shining stars, Mr. Volson had a hell of a game on Friday night. He looked the part. He looked like somebody who was a glass eater, somebody who was playing to win a football game. And I'm going to say it right now, and I think I text our group chat after the game, Mr. Volson is the starting left guard, and I don't see that changing.
I think it's going to happen also. I agree with you on that. He just looked – he was playing against third stringers, not second stringers. I get it. I want to be a little guarded on that. He looked looked like he was in command. He just has this. I don't know. He has an intangible about him. I think he has more of a mental toughness compared to Carmen. I don't know. I saw the interview with Carmen after the game. He was respectful, but at the same time, you could tell he looked pissed and he just didn't want to answer those questions. I don't know what's going on with the guy. I hope that light bulb comes on and he becomes a productive player. But I'm really worried about the depth. Who's going to be our backup guard? Who's going to be our backup center? Who's going to be that swing tackle? I personally don't think Prince is the answer. Now, is Smith going to get healthy and be able to go out there and play? I think he has a future. I think he flashed some last year. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals pick up maybe a player or two with late roster cuts this year. But I just pray that our guys stay healthy and we don't have to lean on the backups that much this year because, buddy, it was rough the other night. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody, I agree with everything you're saying, Mon. And it's funny because, we go to the Super Bowl last year and everybody's like, oh, the Bengals, everything went their way. Look who Joe Burrow had in front of him. What? Turn that game on. Turn that Arizona preseason game on and look at two of the guys that had a lot of starts for Joe Burrow. And you tell me if everything went the Bengals' way. Joe Burrow was sacked 70 times last year, including the playoffs. We got to get the offensive line depth fixed. Again, I'm excited about that front five, especially if Volson is our left guard. Give me that all day, every day. I love that starting five. But the Bengals have got to find a couple of other guys that can come in and give us good quality reps. Mom, in the preseason, it's so hard to look at receivers and backs. I mean, you could see some of the athleticism and stuff like that. But, when you're watching a guy like Mr. Pickens for the Steelers and he's out there dominating, that doesn't show me anything about Mr. Pickens. But when you look at an offensive lineman that is supposed to dominate, that tells me something. That's something I can look at. That's something that is tangible. That is something that can transfer over because a guy like Volson, who is supposed to dominate against second and third stringers, goes out and does it. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about something that's special. Again, Steeler fans, calm down on Mr. Pickens.
Yeah, you're killing me. We had a great back and forth. I was watching the Steeler game, texting. Listen, I think Pickens looked good. I get it. It's a preseason game. I think he's going to be a tough player, and I'm glad we drafted Dax Hill. I'm glad we got Britt, and I'm glad we got Tyson Anderson because they're going to have to play him. And I'll take our guys over him, but he looks like a good player. I'm sorry.
I know, and you're scared of Mason Rudolph and Mr. Trubisky and all those guys as well.
No. But still, Pickens looks like a good player, but I'll take my receivers over them anytime.
Well, I think like we were talking about before, I don't think it's time right now to panic about our offensive line, but Mom, we got to find a couple other guys and if bringing Spain back, I'm all for it. After watching that on Friday night, bring back Spain. He's a vet, and I know he gets this bad rep because of the last play of the Super Bowl, but he played well for us last year. And if he's a guy coming off the bench, give me that all day long over, what we saw on Friday night. And I'm with you, and now we got Jackson Carman, and Deontay Smith. They're both on the rehab field now. And, I don't know. I'm not saying nothing is going on with Jackson Carman, but that tends to happen sometimes when you don't play well. You get the injury bug. But hopefully it's nothing serious because we got to see those guys. We got to see Deontay Smith. We got to see those guys the next 2 weeks.
It's funny. I was talking negative about the offensive line. It starts thundering at my house. I'm sorry. Hey, it's raining. It's thundering like heck out there. It's probably going to get picked up.
Offensive line gods.
I know. I'm all for Spain. I'm a West Virginia fan. You can see the helmet up there. I would love for him to come back. He played well. You're right. He catches a lot of heck for that game against in the Super Bowl, that play against Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald he's the MVP of the league. I mean, come on. And Spain would be a great depth piece, or maybe a potential starter at left guard. I would like to see that. You know what? Hey, listen, we've talked about the offensive line. Let's see how they respond. Let's see what happens this Sunday against the Giants. You know, man, I expect these guys, they have pride. I expect them to go out and play a good game because, I'm sure Coach Pollock is coaching them hard. Those guys got some good practices this week. I can't wait to watch them play against the Giants because I really, really think that they're going to respond in a positive way.
Well, I hope you're right. I actually feel the same way. So we'll see how they react. Let's talk a little bit about some cuts and some guys that went on reserve this week. Center Ben Brown, one of those guys that you and I know we wanted to see this guy. We thought maybe he would be one of the answers, but he went on the reserved injury list this week. Our defensive end, Wyatt Hubert, ends up retiring for health reasons. So he goes on the reserve retired list. Again, as I said before, Jackson Carman and Deontay Smith, both on the rehab field. And we had some guys waived this week in the first wave of cuts. Puka Williams, who muffed a punt the other night, he gets waived. Shamari Jones, the running back, gets waived. And the guy that we talked about weeks and weeks ago, you and I were bummed about this because we loved the story, but Abu Durami Soare gets waived, the defensive back. And what a class act. I don't know if you saw what he put on Twitter, but what a class act, man. I hope nothing but the best for that young man. A couple other things really quick. Trey Hendrickson, somehow on the top 100. Not that I care really about the 100 thing, but he drops. He was at 73 last year, and now he's to 78. The guy had 14 sacks, led the team to the Super Bowl. What? Mon, I just don't have answers. I don't know what some of these pundits are so narrow-minded. They're just clowns. They are clowns. I don't know what to say. They're just clowns.
That's what the NFL, it makes me conspiracy theorists. Okay, he drops 5 points after having that year, 5 spots.
A better year with the Super Bowl.
We're about to talk about something that potentially could happen tomorrow. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think that the media and the NFL, I think they hate the Bengals, and I just maybe hate's a tough word. But now, when I see that, listen, he had a better year than the year before, and he's one of the top. To me, he's one of the top 5 defensive ends in football in the AFC. All right, but I don't know.
Makes no
I
sense.
I was shaking my head when I saw that, but
it makes no sense. That's why you cannot look at those things because, again, you got guys putting guys at that number that have no idea what they are talking about. They say the players do some of those. They don't. That's not being done by anybody but these pundits. That's just ridiculous. Let's move on. Some of the big news though, Mr. Burrow is back in pads. He's looking good. He's throwing the ball, run around a little bit. And then the other news, Jesse Bates in attendance at the game. Twitter blew up with that. And then he posts, he's doing his workouts in a Bengals helmet. I think he posted something like "Just Believe" or something. I got a feeling Jesse Bates is going to be returning very soon. What do you think, Mom?
Yeah, I agree. Listen, him, his holdout is not contentious. There's no bad blood. There's no bad mouthing going on. Listen, the guy, he doesn't want to get injured the early part of camp. He'll be here in a week or so, and Zach Taylor's going to protect him and get him ready for the season. I can't wait for him to come back. Everybody on this podcast, everybody that watches us knows what I think about Jesse Bates. And I think, you know what, he's a professional. He's going to come in and he's going to make our defense better. And that's going to allow Dax Hill to play the slot when needed. It's going to let him come out and play on the outside. Man, our defensive backfield is loaded. It is
Yeah,
loaded.
it's loaded.
And
It's
we
loaded.
just got to stay healthy. And with that pass rush, with Hubbard, with Hendrickson, all those guys, the backups, hopefully Gunther, Osai. Listen, look out. I'm not worried about our defense. I think that they're good. They are what they are. And we're going to be in every game because of them and because of the guy that came back also, Burrow. Burrow is it was good to see him out there in pads throwing. I loved it. And let's just get him stronger. Let's get him ready for that game September 11th.
Yeah, because listen, Bengals, if you're listening to me, please do not let Joe Burrow take a snap. He does not need to take a snap in a preseason game. Don't do it.
Don't let him practice. Don't let him practice against the Rams. Don't let him practice against the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you saw what happened with the young man with the Jets. They had him out there run around and almost cost him his season. But anyway, so let's real quick, Mom, before we get out of here, we got another game coming up this week on Sunday. We got Sunday night football. Sunday night football in the preseason. I'll take it. I'm excited about it. The Bengals travel to the Giants this Sunday, August 21st. That game is at 7 p.m. Mon, real quick, what do you want to see from that game? What do you want to see from our Bengals?
I don't want to see our quarterback touched by a New York Giant defensive end.
That would be nice.
No, it's going to be the
nice.
It's going to be the Jake Browning show. I just want to see improved play from our offensive line. I want to see some more physicality. I'd like to see Chris Evans continue to touch the ball. Yeah. I don't want to see 11 penalties. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listen, Jalen Davis almost had an interception. Dax Hill almost had one. Let's get him this game. Let's get some turnovers. Like to see the young guys continue to put pressure on the Giants quarterback and make them uncomfortable. I just want to see solid effort. I want to see our team just go out and be physical. All right. And obviously, listen, I get it. Training camp. This isn't the training camps of the 70s where guys had 4-hour practices. They don't do that anymore. Yeah. And, it's good. I just want these players to go out there, get back in pads and tackle people and get physical. I just didn't see that last week. And I fully expect them to rebound and play really, really hard against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited to see. Let me see the Jake the Snake Browning show. Let's see what the kid can do again. I mean, I agree with you. He looked good. I mean, he went out. He made throws. I know you. The last couple of years, you have been praying for somebody to take Mr. Allen's spot on the roster. I'm not sure Jake the Snake Browning gonna do that, but let's see the Jake the Snake Browning show with me, Mon. I want to see one thing. I want to see the offensive line dominate. I want to see the offensive line go out and dominate the New York Giants. I don't care if it's their second string, their third string. I don't care who the Giants put out there. I want to see those offensive linemen bounce back and absolutely dominate. That's the only thing I care about seeing, Mon. That's it. Yeah. I want to see that we have depth on the offensive line. I want to see Isaiah Prince. I want to see Adeniji. I want to see Mr. Jax Carman. I want to see those guys dominate. I just it's going to be very hard for me to go into the regular season with Prince, Carman, Adeniji, those guys knowing if something were to happen, God forbid, that those are the guys we're going to have to see again. I need to see something from them. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I think we'll see all the other stuff. I think we'll see Chris Evans have another big game. Kendrick Pryor, I want to see him continue to excel. I want to see my guy Trent Taylor do his thing. I want to see all those things. I want to see those young defensive players make plays again. I'm with you. Finish the play, right? Finish the interception. Let's see some turnovers on defense. But, Mon, more than anything else, I got to see something from the offensive line. I got to see it. I got to see those guys that started in the Super Bowl dominate second and third stringers and not get blown completely off the ball. That's what I got to see.
I agree 100%. It's hard to disagree with you on that. And one other thing, I did mention earlier that they could potentially pick up another lineman on the waiver wire. The Bengals have the 31st priority on the waiver wire. That's going to be hard to get quality players there. So, hopefully these guys can rebound and show something, and we don't have to worry about picking up people on the waiver wire.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, again, we got something very big happening. Unfortunately, Bengals Pulse listeners, Mon and I we're disappointed. We wanted to do this show live. We're actually filming it on Tuesday night, but we wanted to do it live this week because of the big announcement. Hopefully, that's coming tomorrow at 1:00. But because of scheduling conflicts, we had to do this on Tuesday night. Mon, the votes are in. Tomorrow at 1:00, we are going to find out if Mr. Riley and Mr. Anderson are in the Hall of Fame. They better be. I'm telling you right now.
Jake, I want to tell you something.
If one of those guys is not in the Hall of Fame, Mon, we might do an emergency pod because I might lose my mind.
It's going to happen, and I'll tell you why it's going to happen. At 1:00 tomorrow, I'm going to be in Tallahassee, Florida, moving my kid back in for his senior year at Florida State. Ken Riley went to FAMU.
Yep.
In Tallahassee, Florida.
Yep.
He's going to be in the Hall of Fame because I'm in Tallahassee tomorrow. I hope so.
Work.
And it's going to be 1:00. I'll be having lunch somewhere. I'm going to be on my phone, not paying attention to my kids to see if Ken Riley got in. And
hey, it's time. It's time.
Yeah,
it's time for the Rattler to get in. It's time. It's just time. It is time for the Hall of Fame to start looking at these Bengal players, these great Bengal players, and giving them the recognition they deserve. Hopefully, good vibes to Kenny Anderson and Ken Riley, because those two guys deserve it.
If they both get in, I might get arrested tomorrow.
Well, listen, I'm not driving up to Tallahassee to bail you out.
So have a new co-host next week.
Emergency co-host. Anyways, guys, that is another edition of the Bengals Pulse. Once again, if you love this show, which we hope you do, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Check us out on Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify, all the podcast platforms. Again, guys, if you enjoyed this podcast, please take a little bit of time, give us that 5-star review. We would very much appreciate that. Follow us on Twitter at Bengals_Pulse9, and on Instagram, the same without the at Bengals_Pulse9. Again, leave comments in the comment section. If you want us to talk about anything or answer any questions, please leave those comments in the comment section. And once again, check out all the awesome Bengals content that is coming from the Wincinnati Podcast Network, all of the other pods that Ace and Zim have put together. We are rocking and rolling. Mon, our Bengals play. We got a big week. Tomorrow, hopefully a big announcement. Sunday, we got another football game. We got a lot to cover on the next podcast. Once again, Bengal fans, he is Mon. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hooday, Bengal fans.
Bye-bye.
We will see you next week. Good vibes. Ken Riley, Kenny Anderson, good vibes.
Tell him Borat. Okay, see ya.